All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Lovely to see you all as always. And let's begin by going straight into the superpower state. So take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. And go into your superpower state however you normally do that. Using your word or phrase or your anchor, or by focusing in on everything you love and appreciate about your subject. Start to feel your heart opening, that expansion feeling in your chest. As that light shines out from you. Very good. And allow that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy. Very good. And now allow that light or energy to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each cell just for existing. Good job. And now allow that light or energy to fill yourself as a child, that little you. Love that little you just for existing. No matter what. No judgments, no expectations. And now allow that light or energy to overflow from that little you and fill your whole childhood. Shining that light into any darkness, filling everything, everyone, every event, every circumstance. And feeling how empowered that little you is as you do that. Good, very good. And now allow that light or energy to fill everyone who's on the call today, all those who are on camera, all those who are off camera today. Love each one just for existing. Very, very good. All right, you can open your eyes. And let's check in with each person, find out how you're doing. So Sue, you're the first one on my screen today. How are you today?
I'm okay, thank you.
Good. Any questions today?
Well, I had an emotional innings with the vacuum cleaner.
Okay.
It was just because of the design of the head of the vacuum cleaner that won't, when you're moving the thing, that it doesn't stay level to the ground because it's so full of hair and stuff and, you know, like thread and fluff and whatever that vacuum cleaners suck up.
Mm-hmm.
It gets all caught up and then it won't move anymore. And it's just because it's a stupid design.
Okay. Yes.
And it just really incensed me. And I got so angry. I wanted to break it. So now I have to actually go and buy a new head because I cannot have an emotional reaction like that every time I vacuum. Because, I mean, I keep cleaning it. But it doesn't.
Yeah.
Now it's got to a point where I think it's, and we've tried to actually take it apart, but we can't take it apart because these things are sort of rammed together.
Right.
My one son has arrived, so maybe I can have him look at it because he's an industrial designer.
Very good. So before we do, first of all, I know that feeling well.
So you know that.
I know that. Number one, we've had an issue with because both of us have long hair. So we've had that in the past where we've had to buy a new one. And Steve actually ordered parts because he's very handy. So at first we did, and then we got to a point where I think it burnt out or something. And so we had to get a whole new vacuum cleaner. So I know about that, but I also know that feeling of how stupid this is. what a stupid design, who thought of this, you know, who looked at this and thought it was a good idea. All of those kind of feelings, I know those well. And what's interesting is that other people don't think that. So I will react, well, I used to react that way, and Steve wouldn't have that reaction at all. He'd just go, okay, well, so we need to fix it. He didn't, in other words, the fact that somebody did that in the first place was an issue to me, was not an issue to him. He didn't even think of it. So the reason I'm pointing that out is because it's all about the programming. And so the question is, the fact that it's a stupid design, what's wrong with that?
Well, stupid other people to let it go through. It's like the world has become stupid.
Very good. And what does that mean?
It's become tacky and cheap and, you know, like kowtowy to ideals and stuff like that. You know, that's another big anthill.
Okay, good.
This is just sort of like a
little bump on the big anthill.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So what is wrong with, or how, let me ask you this, how do you know that the world has become stupid?
Wow. Well, because I don't really like to talk about it because it's a very sensitive situation.
Okay.
But just how I suppose people have.
And you don't have to give details. You can just think inside your own mind how you know.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You've got something. Okay.
Yeah,
So you've got that in your mind, and notice how that feels inside you. And let me ask you, does being angry or focusing on how stupid it is, will that change it, whatever it is, including the vacuum cleaner and anything else?
No, but that feeling will lead to me sharing thoughts or ideas to try
and what good will that do?
Differently. Well, I was able to do that very, very humanely. I don't know how else to say it. I didn't get emotional about it. I just pointed out some things, and it got somebody to start to think.
Okay, good. And so this person who started to think, will they be changing any of the stupid stuff?
I don't know, but I just hope that they think, and that their thinking will then help them see that maybe things aren't like they're all sort of purported to be or reported to be or whatever, and that then that will be like a ripple effect.
Okay, very good. Now, do you have to get angry in order to do that?
Well, if I didn't feel an emotion, then I wouldn't say anything.
Okay, so is it just...
It was actually a response to something that she had said to me, expecting me to go along with the narrative. Mm-hmm. And I just said, I don't agree. And then I just very gently pointed out various things, and she was going, oh yeah. Oh, I didn't know. And you know, like, so it's just like, open your eyes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Sue, this is fantastic. This is really, really good, because there's a lot of people feeling the same way with all kinds of different perceptions, perspectives, and experiences. It's a very human thing. So a lot of people from all different perspectives of all kinds of things are feeling this feeling. So, are having this kind of experience. And this is why it's so brilliant, because it doesn't actually matter. It doesn't matter what you believe or what you see or what you know. What matters is what's happening inside you. Yes. So, and here's why. Presumably, the reason you feel angry or frustrated or see things as stupid is because, as far as you know, this is something you know to be true, right? Whatever it is that you know. And you wish other people could see the same thing. Okay, good. This is fantastic. So being angry doesn't make the thing true or not true, right? It's either true or it's not, as far as from your experience and your perspective. Okay, so you don't need to be angry to let people know about it, right?
No.
So, for example, we know, Steve and I, what we teach, we know that when you feel negative emotions, the stress chemicals cause your prefrontal cortex to go offline. We know that. It's a fact. And so our mission is to let other people know that. But we don't have to get upset or angry about it. We would like people to know about it because we feel that it would benefit them.
Yeah.
So the point I'm making is the anger or whatever emotional reaction is there is a separate thing. It's got nothing to do with with the facts. It's got nothing to do with the stuff that you know that you wish other people would know. And I am keeping the content out so that it doesn't alienate anybody.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. So thank you for that, because this applies to everybody. If you know something or you believe something and you feel strongly about it, the more calm you can be about it, the more you can replace the anger, the frustration with just passion. Passion is okay, and enthusiasm and compassion. Big time compassion. Because if you share something that you know that you wish other people would know, if you share it with compassion and kindness, and you're thinking of their point of view and you want to help them, they're going to receive it a lot better than if you get angry.
Yeah, true.
And the anger has nothing to do with now.
No.
Okay, so that's a really good place to start. So knowing that, and with the goal of getting to the point where you are just being strategic rather than emotional, because you'll get much better results in whatever you want to do if you're strategic without the emotion, because the emotions make you weak. The emotions take your prefrontal cortex offline and you're just reacting out of automatic behaviors and survival instinct rather than strategically to get specific results.
Yeah.
That's like playing a chess game and just being random about the moves depending on how you feel, rather than going, okay, I'm going to keep calm and I'm going to move this piece there because. Okay, so let's look at the stupid thing. So it's stupid, and what's the feeling when you think of something being stupid? So whether it's the vacuum cleaner design or it's the people in the world.
Okay, well, the vacuum cleaner design, it's like, man, I saw this thing. It's like having a little hissy fit.
That's it. Good. And so that little hissy fit, that's
like a little tantrum.
Good job. Very good. Good job. And so that feeling of that hissy fit, that tantrum, where in your body do you feel it? And what kind of sensation?
It's sort of like this, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like,
okay, so whatever it is, just allow it to be there now. Can you remember how it feels? Can you feel it now when you remember it?
Yeah, it sort of makes me want to laugh, and that's what I did when I was feeling this, and I thought, like, oh my word, this is just, I've got to sort this out. That's why.
Yes, very.
And then I started writing, and then but I was just saying to Steve just now, like, but when I sat there and I thought, okay, just allow that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't think about what created that feeling,
right?
Then it's just like, well, if I omit what created that feeling, then I wouldn't be feeling this.
Correct. That's the point. That's exactly the point. Good. That's perfect. And that's why we do it. Because if you keep thinking of the thing that caused the feeling, you keep pumping stress chemicals into your system, it's very difficult to get out of. But if you stop thinking of the thing that caused the feeling and you only focus on the sensation, this is the reason for the allowing exercise. It brings the stress chemicals down. And that is exactly what you want, because once the stress chemicals are down, you have more control. You've got your prefrontal cortex coming back online, and then you're able to find the references and change them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So that's great job, Sue. Really good. So now that that feeling has come down and you're not thinking about the thing that caused it, now let's find out where in your childhood did you have that same feeling of the hissy fit, the tantrum, or things are so stupid, however that feels to you.
I don't know.
So any frustration?
I mean, I'm sure that there must have been.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do know that when, you know, later in life, when I tried to do something and it didn't work, it was just like, you know, you try and try and you're trying to do it like the way that they said, and it doesn't work, and you just go like, ugh, you know?
Yes. Oh, Sue, I cannot tell you how familiar I am with that. I cannot tell you how familiar I am with that. And the way I described it was that I feel like I could burst, because it's just so, that was that feeling.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, sometimes I used to get so angry. I don't know if I do it anymore. Maybe I do, but maybe it's suppressed, or I'm just used to it. I don't know. But like that, I used to feel like my jugular veins were sticking out, and they would just go.
Yes. Now, so I'm going to give you my example so you know what to get an idea of what you're looking for, and for everyone else as well. In my case, and I have shared this before, because it wasn't long ago that it happened, for me, it led back to the same feeling of being, I couldn't do anything about it. So my brother and sister, who are twins and 1 year younger than me, were like thing one and thing two from the Cat in the Hat. They were a complete nightmare. So, and they were very, very mischievous. They were always doing stuff they weren't supposed to be doing. And I was the good one. And I lived in a constant state of fear. I was terrified all the time of getting into trouble. And what would happen is, of course, and my family were very emotional, very dramatic. There was always drama, arguments, and everybody was, so everything was always terrible. And so, not always, obviously, but this was what sticks. And so I was always trying to make everything okay and be good so that they would be okay. This is my mom and my grandparents. But my brother and sister didn't have that same program. They were just, yeah, well, whatever. And so I would watch them do things that I knew we were going to get into trouble for, that they were going to be upset about. And I would try and stop them, and they wouldn't stop. And there was this same feeling of, I can't comprehend. And we're all going to die, and you are still doing this stupid thing that you're not supposed to do, because I knew they were going to die. But you still won't do it. So, and I remember a similar thing has just come to my head now, on like one of those cable car things, and the two of them would be jumping. And I was terrified of everything anyway. So it's those kinds of feelings for me. Those were the references. Yeah. So there was, I am in danger, and there's nothing I can do to stop it. And these people are upset, and I can't make it okay. And of course, to the subconscious, that's death. That means we're going to die. So that's what you're looking for. It's not probably nothing to do with vacuum cleaners or whatever else is going on in the world, those kind of things. It's to do with the basic survival instinct and being in a situation where something is incomprehensible or frustrating because you have no control. And this will happen for a lot of people, because children have very little control most of the time.
Yeah.
So there will be references of something is happening either to me or around me or to someone I care about, or there's circumstances, whatever, and I can't make it stop or make it change or make it happen.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what you're looking for.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because there must be something, you know, like, because I know that other people, even if they get frustrated with it, they might just take it off and chuck it in the bin.
That's
and then
right.
Go and buy a new one, or they'll try and fix it.
Yes, and that's exactly what Steve did.
They don't have a hissy.
That's it, exactly. And so that is what makes the difference, and that's the reference that you're looking for. Okay. Because, like, for me, it's the principle of the thing. They shouldn't, or whatever. It was that. Yes. So I know it so well. But the great news is I don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
because I changed those references. So also for others who haven't heard this, so what I did was I used the allowing technique of the reference that came to mind specifically. So yes, it was my brother and sister, and there was the thing of my mum being upset and me not knowing, there's nothing I can do. I don't know what to do. I could burst. It was that feeling of I could burst. And for me, the main thing it came out in was technology. Was how stupid to design this, to not put a thing there, and it was that kind of feeling of I cannot believe that they haven't those experiences. And so and I wouldn't want to let it go. It wasn't something where I go, oh well, like Steve would just let it go and move on, and I would no, but they should or they shouldn't or whatever. It was that feeling, and that was because my mother being upset. The subconscious sees it as I'm going to die, there's danger. And especially because the other two, I had the extreme because the other two were running havoc. So if I didn't fix, then then we were all going to die. So there was that compulsion that I couldn't let go of the thing because it's dangerous, not consciously, but subconsciously. So the way I changed it was Steve took me through the allowing exercise with it, where I just allowed that feeling. And as I was doing the allowing of the sensation of that I'm going to burst, that's when it came to my mind about my mum. And my mum's rushing around and upset and everything, and I can't do anything. And so then as he took me through the feeling, step back from the feeling, and it was a fluffy thing, a dark, fluffy thing, and then it turned blue. And I think this is what happened. I can't remember it exactly, but it's in one of these episodes. However it happened, I ended up with a blue fluffy thing that was fine. And I gave, that little me gave the blue fluffy thing to my mum. And she went, oh, thank you. That's what I needed. And then she was fine. So I gave that little me the power to fix whatever was going on. This is really, really important and very powerful. So I empowered that child, that little me, to fix whatever was going on. So that was the stepping stone, very important one. And then after that, I changed it to where my mum was always fine. But what I did as well was throughout the day, I kept remembering giving that blue thing to my mum, and my mum going, oh, thank you so much. That's what I needed, over and over. And then if anything started to feel a little bit like I'm getting frustrated, I went to that. I imagined giving the blue thing to my mum, everything's fine. So hopefully that gives you some ideas.
Yeah, it does.
Sound good?
Yeah, but can I just chime in a little thing too, is that also if you don't feel something,
yes,
and if you just go and you're like, I'm just going to say what comes into my mouth. If you're just complacent about everything, and it's been made in a really impractical way, but that's okay. And like the road is broken there, but that's okay. How is change going to happen?
Good question. Very, very good question. And you're not alone. And that's what I used to think as well. And here's the difference. If there is something you can do about the thing, then do it. Absolutely. So if you know who designed that, and you can go and speak to them and say, okay, so this is not a good idea because of this. And so the next one you design, will you do it this way?
I wrote to VW about that because of my car.
And that's fine.
And they wrote back to me and they said, thank you, we'll take that into consideration, but their latest models haven't taken it into consideration.
And that's okay. So, but do you see the difference that if there is something you can do strategically, so I'm not talking about rattling off what I used to do a lot of, and my sister as well, was rattling off, furious emails.
No, this was not furious. I just pointed out the certain things that had come to my attention when I got my car, and I just thought that was just odd.
And now, of course, they will, obviously it's a huge company, and so if you were the only one or there was only a handful of people, they're not going to pay any attention. They will have done whatever research and stuff. So, so the point is that if it doesn't mean change never happens. It means that change happens more effectively because you're not emotional. So you're able to be strategic. So it's a very important distinction. One doesn't have to be upset or angry or frustrated in order to get change to happen. That may be the first step. You may find yourself, I'm so frustrated by this. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But then you go through whatever process to get to the point where you go, right, I'm going to make this different. I'm going to do whatever it takes to change it. And then you move forward with making those changes, whatever those actions are going to be, because then you're strategic. So you're making better decisions. You're noticing better solutions and opportunities, and your communication with other people is going to be clearer and more persuasive. So you're going to get more done. Does that help to answer that question?
Yeah, it does. And you know, like, I suppose I do know that, because I'm not stupid.
Of course.
Sorry, I just had to chime that in.
That's why everybody else is stupid.
Other people might think I'm stupid, but I don't. No. See, Katrina.
And here's another thing.
If people think you're stupid, just say, I'm not stupid. Because Katrina was saying she's got this thing about people thinking.
Well, here's the other thing. I had a major program about being stupid. Big program about, I was very, very sensitive, oversensitive, being thought of as stupid. And one of the references for that was my mum often would say to me, don't be so stupid, Odille. So that was going in. My brother and sister didn't have that program. She's bound to have said it to them as well, but whatever other references were there, it came out in me, didn't come out in them. But here's I'm going to throw a spanner in those works now. There is no such thing as stupid. There's no such thing as stupid. It's programming. It's only programming. Everyone is running on automatic according to their programming. So there's no such thing as stupid. It doesn't even exist.
That's going to have to take some convincing, but anyway.
And I've actually written an article on that. So, or a.
You have written one?
Yeah, I've written a post or an article. I'll find it. Steve, if you could remind me, and I'll put the link in the description to this.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'd like to read that.
I might share it on Facebook
to
again.
Digest it.
Yeah. All right.
I'm going to switch my video off because I have to go and cook now.
All right. Well, thank you, Sue.
Thank you. That was very interesting, and I hope it's, I don't know, did something for other people too.
Yes. So check, find those references and change them.
Yeah.
Whatever that was when you were a child that had that same feeling of whatever you've got now. Okay. Good job. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. All right. Bye-bye now. Bye. Okay. And Lisa. Hi, Lisa. How are you today?
It's TR Tuesday. Yay. This is from your book.
Very good.
Reprogram Your Subconscious Mind for Business Success. So I went on page 61 and I'm reading this. It's the earlier you turn off the tap. This is about zero tolerance. So the earlier you turn off that tap and turn on the endorphins, the feel-good chemicals, by turning your focus to happy, funny, fun stuff, or even just thinking of things you're grateful for, the easier and quicker it will be to reduce the levels of stress chemicals and move forward in a more productive, creative, effective way.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that, and spot on. Yeah. And that ties in with what I've just been talking with Sue about as well, is that the sooner you can catch it, the easier, because when you've got those stress chemicals in your system already, it just gets more and more difficult because they have such a huge impact. So thank you, Lisa, for sharing that. Good one.
Sure.
And did you have any questions?
I just have a quick one. It's about the allowing technique. You can do that for someone else, or is it, can you do it for somebody else, like allowing for someone else if they have an issue, or does it have to be the person themselves?
No, you can do it for someone else. Now, you can do it for your experience of someone else. So we can't make, and it may or may not affect them. We don't know. It depends on what they're allowing in their experience and what programs they have and all of that. But what you definitely can do is change your own experience through doing that. So, you know, I think of somebody who's experiencing something that I'm worried about, and then I notice, how does this feel, this worry? Or how does it feel that they are experiencing this thing? And then I notice the sensation in my body. I go through the whole process, and then I check if there's any references and change those. And what you're always aiming for, the end result you're always aiming for, is to be able to be in a state of unconditional love for yourself first, and to be able to love that other person exactly as they are, no matter what happens, no matter what they're going through, no matter what they do, and so on. Does that help to explain it?
Very good. Thank you.
All right. You're very welcome, sweetie. Good job and good question. And Sadia. Hi, Sadia.
Hi, Odille. Hi, everyone.
How are you today?
A bit sick, but I'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been following like the advice and the recordings, but I am still I still have that issue of the like, because I've been switching, trying different to try different references, but and when I thought, okay, I got it, but no, like when I think of it, like just imagining in my mind that I am in the plane right now, like I can feel it in my feet, I'm not safe, and like it's still the same feeling. But as you well, you told me to go back to my childhood, but I couldn't find something related to that. And each time I still have war movies in my mind whenever I'm thinking about taking the flight.
Okay, very good. So let me ask you this. Did you ever feel in your childhood, and these are, so, you know, obviously if they've been changed to new memories, just check that they are the new memories and there aren't any old ones, or there's no pieces of the old ones. Did you ever in your childhood feel that you're in danger? And especially that you're in danger and there's nothing you can do about it? Or that you're in trouble and there's nothing you can do about it? Anything like that? And you don't have to say, give any details, just let me know if you've got something.
Yeah, but it does not match what I'm thinking. Like the same emotion that I have when I the fact, like what I have in my mind is like it's very recent. So this is probably the reason I'm like, should I really go to my, like, you know, childhood, or should I stay? Because I've not been afraid. It's not a fear that I had. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if you're still there.
Okay.
Are you still there?
Yes, we're still here.
Okay.
So Sadia,
Yeah.
okay, this is for everybody. You cannot experience anything now without a previous reference. You cannot experience any emotions, any feelings without a previous reference for it. Now, it may not be the same topic, and that's why we say it may not be the same topic, but it will be. So some examples are, I am frightened of getting on the airplane because it may crash, and that's a scary thing. And then at school, I was being bullied, and I was frightened of going to school because now I have to get on the plane and I have to go to school. And so there's that apprehension is the same. Two completely different situations. And I'm not being bullied on the plane, but in school, I'm not getting on a flight that's going to crash. But it's still that anticipation of something I'm going to experience that feels dangerous that I can do nothing about. Does that help to explain you know, the way things are linked?
Yeah, I was not thinking about the apprehension or I was just focused on the feeling, like, why do I feel like this? Where does that come from?
Right.
And I couldn't find, like, I would try to switch and play with it, but nothing would work.
Yeah. So you want to boil it right down to the feeling and maybe even just the sensation of it. So whatever happens when you think about getting on a plane, so for some people, their heart rate increases. Some people, they get a thing in their throat or in their chest, or they start feeling shaky, or they feel, you know, whatever those sensations are, then think back to your childhood. Where did I have those sensations? So for me, for example, I never did homework as a child. So I was always getting into trouble for not doing homework, being sent to the headmaster's office. And on my way to school, I would feel those feelings of fear. And they matched certain things in my adult life. So it's nothing to do with homework. So it's about the feeling itself, and the details may be completely different. So another good example is my issues with money, that feeling of I can't pay my bills. It boiled down to the basic feeling of they want something from me and I don't have it. I don't have the money to pay them. So it's not about money. They want something of me. I can't give it to them because I don't have it. And in my childhood, the link was they want me to be something. And I'm not that thing. I can't be that.
Mm-hmm.
So does that help to clarify a little bit?
Yeah. But my mind is still like about the stories. Like I'm funny. Like I feel. Let me rephrase. Sorry.
Okay.
It's much more difficult sometimes to change what I would say my mind soul, like my high soul, or well, usually they say it's the brain that see, not the eyes. But and like what I heard, like I have lots of stories, or when you watch movies and when you heard the news, like something crashed and all these kind of things. So I was wondering, what do I do with these? Like it feels like I don't know, it's kind of difficult to just let that go and
Okay, so that's a great point, Sadia, and very good question. And thank you for the opportunity to explain it, because it will help others as well with all different topics. So here's the difference. I fly a lot. Steve and I fly a lot. Now, when I get onto a plane, I'm aware the plane could crash. I've heard the same stories. Right. So I know there's news and I've heard of it, and there's all kinds of things. We've all heard them. But the difference is my brain doesn't go there. It may think of it. I may think of it, but I'm not frightened of it. And I forget about it. And I focus on, like I said before, the movies and the meals and that. And I'm able to bring my mind to what I'm looking forward to because I don't have the stress chemicals in my system. And so everybody, a lot of people fly, and most of those people know that there's a possibility the plane could crash. They've heard those news stories as well, but not everyone is frightened. You don't get on a plane and everybody's terrified, right? Only some people are frightened. And so if it was a real danger, so if it was true that one should focus on this fact because it's thing, then everybody would be frightened. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And because there's nothing you can do, right? Other than, of course, fly reputable airlines and that kind of thing. And then, so being frightened of it is not going to change anything. Now, if more planes crashed than didn't crash, then I would advise not flying. I mean, you just don't get on a plane. Clearly, I wouldn't get on a plane either. Yeah, I'd find other ways to get around. So the fact is that that's not the case. So it's about, it's about the references. That's what's making the difference between whether you're able to take your focus off the fear and put it on something else or not. And if you've still got references in your childhood about being in danger, and by danger, I don't necessarily mean like physical danger, I mean in danger of disappointing someone or not doing your homework, whatever that is, if you've still got those references there, then every time you try not to be frightened of getting onto a plane, your subconscious is going to go, no, we have to be frightened. This is the way it works. But once you change those references, then you can think of it and you can think, okay, it's a possibility, but I'm not going to focus on it because there's nothing I can do. If there's something I can do, then I'll, if I know something's going to crash, I'm not going to get on a plane. So then you're able to control where you're putting your focus because you haven't got those stress chemicals in your system. So that's what you're aiming for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. I will watch the recordings so I
Good, good, good. Yes, you're
do
very,
my
very
best.
welcome. Very good. And so that's why it's about the childhood references. Because if it was really just about the planes, just about getting on a flight, then you could reason it away. You could say, well, I could choose not to fly. Or if I have to fly, then I'm going to, do the best I can. And most planes don't crash. By far, most planes don't crash. So then you could reason it out. But the fact that you can't reason it out has to be in your childhood. All right, sweetheart. Good job, you. Thank you for asking those questions. Very good. All right. And Swasti. Hi, Swasti.
Hello.
Hey, how are you today?
I don't really know.
Okay.
After, well, I had like the tutoring induction thing just now, and afterwards I just felt like I don't know what I'm doing. Like, not regarding the session. I just felt like sad and low in energy. I don't know what happened there, but like they were discussing, I guess, something to do with like, this is what I thought, maybe, I don't know, just like the children who I'm tutoring have just like abuse and things at home. And I just felt like that's not fair. That's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that might be a link, but I honestly don't know.
Okay, very good. So, so these are children you will be tutoring,
Mm-hmm.
and you were looking forward to tutoring them.
Yeah.
So you heard, was it when they said that these are children who've experienced abuse at home? Was that when you started to feel sad? Was that the trigger?
No, because they've said this before.
Okay.
Then it was just like after the session. I
So-
guess like in the evening today I have a lot to do. And I'll be meeting this like one person who's helping with my personal statement. And she's like, she gets like, she's my dad's colleague, she'll be helping me, but she just gets angry very quickly.
Oh.
Like, well, not like in a harsh way, just like you put yourself in a situation of a gap year where you failed once, and now I need to help you. And she's like, you left a week till the deadline, which is not a week, it's like 2 weeks. But she'll exaggerate things. I'm not looking forward to that at all.
Okay. Now, I want you to think about her right now, that person, and I want you to imagine her as a 5-year-old saying exactly the same things. And how does that feel?
That's hilarious.
So that's just the coping skill there. That's Steve's technique. So that's one thing you can do that's quick, that's easy. Think of her as a 5-year-old. But do this before you meet up with her, so that your brain is already practicing that, seeing her as a 5-year-old. And what that does is, it's funny, of course, but it'll also bring up compassion instead of fear or anger or whatever negative emotions are there. So it'll bring up kindness and compassion the way you would be with the 5-year-old who was saying the same things.
Okay. Yeah.
How does that feel to start with?
Yeah, I'm not actually seeing her. It's on the phone. Or actually, I'm not sure. She hasn't said. It might be a Zoom call or something.
All right. So however you meet up with her, in whatever form, practice beforehand. Keep thinking of her as a little 5-year-old. Even better if you can't see her, because you can imagine anything you like. Imagine it's a little 5-year-old in a suit that's too big for her, and she's wearing her mummy's high heels, and she's playing this role where she thinks she needs to play this role. You should have, and she's just copying the adults that she's heard.
Okay.
And it has nothing to do with you. It's just a 5-year-old role playing.
Okay.
So that's for the conscious mind.
Yeah.
So now let's look at the rest of it. So because of course her anger and her whatever she's saying, oh, you've left it so late and you took a gap year, or everything that she's saying is about her. It's about her own fears, her own programs, her own automatic reactions to things. And it's mainly about fear. Whenever someone is reacting in that kind of negative way, it's all about their own background fears, their own unconscious fears that they're probably completely unaware of most of the time.
Yeah, she's also really arrogant. like because her children went, like both of them are medics now, like they're doctors. I think they're quite old, but like older than me. They both went to like Imperial, like in London, and she's like, yeah, look, my children made it.
Yes. And so part of that will be from her fear, she made sure her children did that, because in the background, her subconscious was going, we will die if we don't get these kids to do this. So she would have done whatever it took to make sure, out of survival instinct.
Yeah.
Right? And that's okay. That's okay for her. It's okay for them. That's their business. That's what they're doing. And so it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
All right. So she's helping you. That's very nice. And then she's playing this little role of whatever she's playing. Think of her, the other thing you can do is think of her as a character in a movie or a TV show. And that's just what this character does. And so you can go, okay, anyway, and just move on. Do whatever. So let's say she says, so if it was me, for example, she says to me, oh, you left it till the 1 week to go, and whatever she's saying, I go, yeah. Anyway, so what about this? I just ask the next question.
Yeah.
That's the way to, so you're not hitting the ball back by going, well, it's actually 2 weeks, or this is why, or anything. You just, okay, yeah. Anyway, move on. You take control and change the subject when you want to.
Okay, yeah, that's what my dad does in meetings, because he's always dealing with negative people. But that's because of his dad, but he doesn't know that.
Yes.
Like his preferences. Yeah, okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, definitely.
Very good. Okay. And then, of course, you can also check for any references. So so you're dealing with her. Now, anything else about the preparation for this tutoring and the fact that the children were abused, any of that actually a trigger, or was that just happened to be where your mind went because you were already triggered about working with this woman?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just where my mind went, because the whole day I've been thinking about working, like when I have to meet with her.
Right. So that's what, so it was the idea of working with her and meet with her that produced the stress chemicals, and then your conscious mind was finding other reasons. So that's fine. Because of course, the truth is the fact that these children have gone through what they've gone through means your role is even more important, and you're going to be a bright light in their lives. So that's the thing to focus on.
Yeah.
What you can bring. Yeah, and you can focus on that while you're working with this woman as well. You know, so use the techniques that I've already spoken about, and then in addition to that, remember the end result. Remember why you're doing this. Keep reminding yourself of the end result of this, because here's another thing.
Oh yeah, that makes a big difference.
Does that make a big difference? Good. And something else to bear in mind is that if you had not done whatever it has happened to be taking this gap year, not only would you not be doing this, that's one thing, but the children, I'm getting waves of goosebumps as I'm saying this, the children you are going to be interacting with, their lives would not be the same.
Oh,
that makes sense?
So like I wouldn't have done this if I hadn't taken the gap. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's just, from your point of view, you wouldn't have done it. But think from each of those children's points of view, whatever we don't even know yet, whatever you are going to bring to those children, however your interaction with them is going to impact not just what they're experiencing in their lives now, but the adult that child is going to become.
Oh yeah.
That wouldn't have happened. So have that in your mind when she's complaining about you taking a gap year.
Wow. Yes. That's so I think that was something in the chat about this, but you're basically creating references for them.
Right. Exactly. Spot on.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yes, exactly. So that is very, very powerful. And that's for everybody. When things go wrong, you don't expect them to happen the way you wanted them to happen. And that, try switching it around and also thinking from the people's lives you are touching and changing through that interaction, especially children.
Yeah.
Because those children that you will be working with, I suspect a lot of them are going to be different in some way as adults than they would have been if you hadn't interacted with them.
Wow, this is so powerful. Oh my God, yes.
Good job. Yay. Good job, Swasti. And I'm excited for you and for those children.
Yeah, me too.
Very good.
It's going to take me some time for that to sink in. Wow. Thank you.
You're very welcome, sweetheart. Good job, you. All right. Is that everybody on camera? And Steve, anything in the chat to answer?
Just a comment that I want to add in kind of on what you were just explaining with Swasti there. And the comment says, you cannot experience anything without a reference. This is how teachers can change brains, or anyone can change the brain of a young child and hopefully give a reference to the experience of being loved. I was told as a teacher, I was changing brains. I'm just now understanding a deeper meaning. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Cheryl, and welcome back. And yes, because when we think of teaching children, or when we think of teachers teaching our children, the natural thing is to think of the educational side. But it's true that even, the adults we work with, there are so many who say, I had a teacher who, and it can be positive or negative. It can add to their self-esteem, or it can change. Now, it's the teacher themselves is not going to create all of the references. Of course, it's a combination of everything. And their experiences at home with their parents are going to be, probably the most foundational. But teachers have a lot more impact can have a lot more impact than is recognized by anybody, including the teachers sometimes. And I remember one of the things, because I wanted to be a teacher originally, and one of the things that put me off was dealing with children from homes that were, where they were being abused, or they weren't being looked after, treated properly, and that kind of thing, and not being able to do anything about it. That's one of the things that put me off, because I thought, I can't deal with these children and not be able to help them and save them. But I didn't know back then the impact that we know now. So yes, good. I'm glad. Thank you for mentioning that as well. You're very welcome. Yay. Thank you, Swasti. That is beautiful. All right. And so, Steve, anything else from the chat that needs answering?
Nope. We're good to go.
All right. Very good. So let's do the targeting. So take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open. And go into your superpower state however you normally do that. By focusing on your word or phrase or your anchor, or focusing in on everything you love and appreciate about your subject. Start to feel your heart opening, that expansion feeling in your chest, allowing that light to shine out. And then allow that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that love. Very good. And now allow this light, this energy, to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each cell just for existing. And then allow this light or energy to fill your subject, no matter what. And then imagine your subject doesn't want to be with you, or doesn't have the qualities that you love and admire and appreciate, and keep them filled with that light, that energy anyway. Very good. And now let's go to Lisa. Fill Lisa with this light, this energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Lisa just for existing. Very good. And allow that light or energy to overflow from Lisa and fill her daughter and her business and relationships. Fill all of that with this same light, this energy, loving it all exactly as it is, loving Lisa's daughter exactly as she is, no matter what she does or experiences, loving her just for existing, no matter what, no judgment, no expectations, and filling her business and her relationships, shining this light into all of it, shining this light into any darkness, loving everything and everyone anyway. Very good. And now to Sadia. Fill Sadia with the same light, this energy. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips, love Sadia just for existing. Very, very good. Good job. And now to Sue. Fill Sue with the same light, this energy. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips, love Sue just for existing. Very good. And now to Swasti. Fill Swasti with the same light, this energy. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips, love Swasti just for existing. And now allow that light, that energy to overflow from Swasti and fill the person she'll be meeting with later today. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips, love that person just for existing, no matter what she does. Imagine that person is angry and continue to fill her with this light, this energy, exactly as she is, angry, and whatever she does, whatever she says, shining this light into any darkness, loving her exactly as she is, no judgment, no expectations, shining that light, whatever happens. Very, very good. And now to everyone who's off camera today and everyone watching the recording, fill each one with this light, this energy, from the tips of their toes to the top of their head and out to their fingertips. Love each one just for existing. Very, very good. And now think of yourself later today, whatever you'll be doing or feeling or experiencing. And love that version of you. Fill that version of you, that future version of you with this light, this energy, this love, no matter what you'll be experiencing. Loving that version of you exactly as you are. No judgment, no expectations. Shining this light into any darkness, loving it all anyway. And surge. And surge again. Very good. And you can open your eyes if you have them closed. And that's the end of today. You're very, very welcome. Thank you for all the thank yous in the chat. And And it's wonderful to see you all as always. And thank you so much to those who ask their questions so that others can be helped as well. We really appreciate that. Of course, do continue to share these videos with those you feel would benefit from them. And we love you all, and we will see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Lots of love to all of you. Bye-bye now.